Hey guys, Dr. Hampton here. Thank you for coming to my channel. Today I am with Dr. Koz. He is a functional medicine doctor and author of his new book entitled Unfunc Your Gut. It's about boosting your immune system, healing your gut, and unlocking your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. I wanted to bring an expert in functional medicine to the YouTube channel because so many people have heard about elimination diets, but they don't know much about it. And I just learned about it as a student of nutrition and functional medicine. So the question is, who should consider it, and when is it okay to try it? And what happens if my doctor is unfamiliar with it? What should I do? So, Dr. Koz, give us a sense of what the elimination diet is and give us some additional tips about it.
Sure. So the whole point of an elimination diet is to diagnose food sensitivities. And it's important to understand there's three different reactions that your body can have to food. You can be allergic to a food, you can have a celiac response, or you could be sensitive to a food. And because you have one doesn't mean you have the others, or if you don't have one doesn't mean you don't have the others. So they're all independent of each other. It's a different type of immune response that's created. Allergies are an IgE antibody, celiac disease is an IgA antibody, and sensitivities are an IgG antibody. There's some other key differences. And the two being, I always say that allergies and celiac are easy because the regular medical community believes in them. There's pretty reliable testing. So if you're curious, you can go for the testing and you get a definitive yes or no. And the other biggest thing is that they happen right after you eat the food. So somebody that's allergic to dairy or peanuts is going to have a swelling reaction, a rash reaction, an anaphylactic reaction pretty quickly. With gluten, it's a lot of times a GI symptoms pretty quickly. Sensitivities are the whole point of an elimination diet. And what makes sensitivities so dangerous is that there is not reliable testing. So there's a lot of IgG food testing. It is not accurate. It's not reliable. It's typically a log of what you've been eating for the last 2 or 3 months. It's expensive. So I've never ordered an IgG food panel in my career, but I've prescribed thousands of elimination diets. Elimination diet is the way that you diagnose what you're sensitive to. So the reason that everybody should do an elimination diet is because the symptoms can present as anything. They could present as headaches, depression, joint pain, eczema, infertility, any part of your body. And so you might even have sensitivities right now without symptoms. So identifying them before they turn into symptoms is also a good thing. So we're diagnosing, the reaction is delayed hours to days. So let's say I am sensitive to gluten and I eat a bagel every day for breakfast. I feel fine. I have no issues, but I'm dealing with chronic eczema and I'm going to my doctor. They're giving me creams, pills, but I'm still eating the bagel every day for breakfast. I will never, there's nothing in my body that's going to tell me like, hey, you're sensitive to this, right? Your body will tell you quickly like, hey, you're allergic to this. It's not going to tell you you're sensitive to it. So you need to diagnose it yourself. And so an elimination diet is 21 days of cutting out the biggest offending foods and then reintroducing them one by one using a tracking journal. This 21 days is based on science, so it's not like some made up number. The key to understanding it is half-lives. Everything in your body has a half-life. If you drink alcohol, smoke weed, take prescription meds, your hormones, everything has a half-life, different clearance time. That's why some meds you take 3 times a day, some are once a week, right? Because we clear them at different rates. The half-life of IgG antibodies is about 21 days. So let's say I had that bagel for breakfast today and I have 100 antibodies floating around. If I don't have any gluten for the next 21 days, that antibody count will drop in half to 50. When I eat it again on day 22, my immune system will remember and attack. and I will get symptoms. So you use this tracking journal, and there's a copy of it in my book, but it's just broken down by the different systems. So you might have gone into an elimination diet because of headaches, but when you reintroduce dairy, you might get GI symptoms. And that could still be the reason you're getting headaches. It's just the gut is the gateway into your body. And so, I mean, I could take 100 people with a gluten sensitivity and they all have different symptoms. So there's not one symptom that makes me think like, oh, you're sensitive to a food. That's kind of why I think everybody should do it. So the top 5 offenders are gluten, dairy, soy, corn, eggs, and then sugar. The other foods that we cut out are beef, pork, shellfish, processed meats, coffee, alcohol. So that's a full elimination diet. And that, again, there's a whole chapter about it in my book. And then there's also, we have over 50 recipes in my book that are meant to help people figure out what to eat. Because for a lot of people, you look at that list and it's really overwhelming. What can you eat? There's a lot of things you can still eat. So that is what an elimination diet is. That's why it's important and why everybody should do it.
Yeah, I think the most surprising thing hearing you talk about this is that everybody should do it. But it does make sense because it's a rare person who doesn't have some type of physical complaint about something. So imagining going through your whole life having a physical complaint, not having tried this, and it could have been the key to figuring out what that cause was. So that's pretty revealing. And most of us can tolerate a few weeks of restricting things and then easing those things back into our diet. So I really appreciate your expertise and your knowledge that is rooted in functional medicine. And I really want all those listening to consider checking out podcast episode number 58 of Protecting Your Nest, because Dr. Koz and I had more discussion about other topics in the world of what's the root cause of A, B, and C, and just giving you guys tips to follow. So I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you, Doc, from joining me. And until we have another video, guys, be safe, be well, and continue to protect your nest.